is Paul Barrett, the CEO of Rome Resources, following the announcement of the discovery of a new tin zone. Well, thank you for joining us again. Paul, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. My pleasure. No.
Well, good to be speaking. I know last time we spoke, it was really all about getting back on the ground, back to the busy period, I think you said. You've got this $1.6 million drilling campaign that is actually going underway at the moment. So I just want to talk about this new tin zone you found here. You say it sits outside the existing soil anomaly and the existing drilled area, suggesting a possible new system or fault-generated repetition. So, I mean, what do you sort of mean by that? Could it be an entirely new system, or just another fault, or just don't you know yet?
Well, it's not an entirely new system as such. It's possibly a new zone, a new significant zone within that same system. So, we put a couple of graphics out on the RNS, and it's quite interesting that the program that we had, which is basically to drill deeper, you will see from that section there. So on the right-hand end is hole number 30, which is the one that was drilled most recently. We only got down to 70 meters because of mechanical problems. So we're re-drilling it at the moment, just offsetting it slightly. But you can see that the target there really was to go down into the deep part of the system where there's all the question marks, because we haven't really drilled down there. And that's where we expect the copper and the tin to really get going. And what happened was, in the weathered zone, we encountered unexpectedly a tin zone. Now, that is difficult when it's weathered to actually visually work out what's going on in terms of how much cassiterite, but the XRF was picked up the tin. So we definitely have a new tin zone. The question, as you alluded to, is whether that's a new zone or whether that's a faulted repetition of the existing zones that we have being brought up nearer to the surface. And we won't really know that until we've drilled a few more holes. If that's the case, then that's quite interesting, because that brings the deeper tin closer to surface, which is, what we've been saying all along, is that the deeper we go, the better the tin is. Or if it's a brand new zone, then that's further exploration. But I think one of the real keys is that this hole was drilled outside the main soil geochemical anomaly. And of course, thanks very much, we've been using that as our kind of go-to exploration tool to start identifying where we were going to drill. Obviously, the original drilling program that Rome undertook a few years ago was focused on that area, and we're infilling and going deeper there. But I think what we see here is that the tin that we've encountered clearly is outside the main part of this soil anomaly. And I think that what's happening is that the soil anomaly is very well developed on the top of the hillside. And as you go down into the flanks of the structure, then you're getting very steep topography, and you're getting runoff, and you're getting a lot of that soil being eroded off, and potentially you won't see any soil tin anomalies because it's been eroded away. So I think that's what's happening here, and it begs the question then, if this zone exists here, is there any more to the northeast? So this is something that we're now chasing as part of the program. The nice thing is we can drill. You see those two planned holes to the north of 30 there. Those were planned anyway to test the deep, because they go in at an angle, but they will test this zone at the same time. So we don't have to really change the program all that much. We just have to make sure that we test all the zones that we see. So it's quite positive in the fact that it's a further tin zone, whether it's a repetition or whether it's brand new. It's, at this point in time, it doesn't matter. It is potentially further resources. They won't be in this resource estimate that we're doing now, but they will be in the update in September.
Okay. That was something I was going to ask, so that's good that you've clarified that. Just on your understanding at the moment of the geological model, I know you were following the model and everything was shaping up to be as you expected. We've talked about that before, where you hit copper and zinc initially and then get into the tin. So this has actually changed then, hasn't it? Because you're seeing tin further up. So does it change your geological model? Is it anything significant that you've got to consider that the tin is actually higher up in this new zone?
Well, I don't think it changes the model, but it does change potentially the structural interpretation that some of the deeper zones have been faulted up, thrusted up towards surface, and so we have to basically look at that when we get some more drill hole results. It's it's still the same problem. I mean, we've got as we've said previously, there's quite a lot of copper involved in this system, and combined with the tin, it's quite an exciting play.
Indeed, yeah. So you're saying you think what it is an area, a fault area is thrusted up, and that's why the tin is higher at surface in that particular area. But looking at that plan view there, I mean, it looks like it's all part of what you would do as an open pit anyway, I suppose. So it's a nice thing to have found. You'd have found it anyway when you were open pitted. So it's a nice add-on, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes, I mean the geochemical anomaly, actually the outline is almost mirroring the topography. So we have a hillside which we can take off. I mean, ordinarily you'd think that was overburdened, but what it will be a lot of the copper and potentially zinc will be in that overburden getting down to the tin. And this area on the flank is definitely within reach of a mine plan. It's definitely workable.
So you're effectively hitting what they call pay dirt immediately, both with the copper and the zinc, but now some tin early doors as well.
That's right. Yeah. So all good.
Good. Yeah, all good. Indeed. Just a couple of things I want to pick up on from last time, because of course things are just getting restarted. So in terms of some of the access issues for the samples that were stuck in Goma, have they progressed anywhere? I think they were going for metallurgical testing.
Well, we have the luxury of having additional. They're just quarter cuts of cores, so we have additional material that we're sending to the lab in Canada. So there's been a little bit of a delay, but it is now kind of on track. Yeah.
Okay, good. And that MRE is being worked on as well, I think, isn't it? That'll be out. Yeah.
That's right. In fact, I was hoping for a response from Jeremy before we spoke, but I'm looking at the end of this month. It's not going to be a long process. And then, I'm hoping it will coincide with putting out our annual results, which is end of June anyway. So if it's a few days later, so be it. But it's, I'm looking forward to it. And that will clearly add a kind of a layer of value to the project. At the moment, really, there's no numbers. So people are just going on basically what they see and what they hope we will hit. But this will cement some of the value into the business, and the update will hopefully increase that. There won't be a downside to it. It will hopefully increase it.
Do you think that when you get those numbers out, that first real bite, that look at the bite of the cherry, let's say, that first real look at the numbers there, that the market might start to, because the share price did react on the news yesterday, but I know it's pulled back, and I've seen lots of comments, investors suggesting that the company is undervalued and they can't understand why the value is not being built in yet. So do you think that might be one of the catalyst moments? Do you think there's perhaps some still fear around the DRC and what's going on at the moment?
Well, I think I think both of those in a way, but on the value side, so yes, a resource number will be the tool that we can use to show people that there's something tangible. On the tin and the copper, basically, I think we'll see something interesting. And then on the security side, that has calmed down. We've had the Abu Dhabi sovereign wealth fund come in and pick up a controlling interest in Alphamin next door. Yeah. So that's really interesting. I mean, I sat with those Abu Dhabi guys last year, and they said, we're a little bit concerned about DRC risk, but clearly they've got over that. And I think even the Americans coming in and looking at mineral deals is helping in that respect to kind of stabilize the whole situation. It has stabilized from a purely a security side of things, but I think it will stabilize from a commercial side of things as we go on.
Yeah, okay. It's good to see that IRH, isn't it, that acquired that stake in Alphamin. I mean, thinking bigger picture here, but with Rome Resources, are you going ahead with this as if you're going to build out a mine and build out an open pit, or the potential here for partnerships or acquisitions, given the proximity to? Well, you're just next door. It's the same part of the same system, effectively.
That's right. It's 8 kilometers. It's a 90-second helicopter ride. So it's clearly next door. I mean, when I spoke to IRH, and their business model is essentially to pick up producing assets. I think this is their first tin project they looked at, but they're into critical metals, so obviously it fits. And we were kind of early stage for them at that point, but now we're talking about, as you say, bringing in additional resource nearby, next door, into that mine, which would be, they've only got 7 or 8 years of mine life left, so they need to start looking for additional resource now. So that's good. Yeah. Also, there's other potential strategic partners and industry partners that we can talk to. But let's get the resources out first and see what we got.
Exactly. And are you still planning to head out there? I think it was August time.
Yes, we're going to take some drones out there and do some videos. So it should be quite interesting.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think early August.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time, as always. Paul Barrett, the CEO of Rome Resources.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.